Wilson Miles from Black Film TV, talking to Coke Daniels, director of Karen. Obviously, you caused quite a stir when the word went out as to what this film was about. So talk to me about the concept of coming up with this story.
Well, it was last year during the pandemic and all the civil unrest due to the murders of George and Brianna and Ahmaud. And me as a Black filmmaker, I just felt like I really wanted to say something and more importantly, do something, and I just, decided to use my art as a platform to talk about race and social injustice and all these things in the country, but from an entertaining standpoint, putting in the Trojan horse of a suspense thriller, rather than just, going kind of direct at just the issue, kind of formatted like a traditional suspense thriller, because I knew that would reach a wider audience and get the point across.
Now, there's a lot of people out there that doesn't know what it means. So break it down as far as what does Karen mean?
Karen, to me, a lot of people have different meanings. To me, it's an entitled white woman who weaponizes race and privilege against people of color. There's many different variations of Karens. So, but that's the Karen we're talking about. And that's kind of how, when I say Karen or somebody's acting like a Karen, that's what I'm talking about, is when their race and entitlement is beautifully in their own way. Yeah, and they don't, a lot of times they don't consider themselves racist or their acts racist, but it's weird, man. It's a weird phenomenon that's been here. I was speaking to somebody earlier and they brought it up, and I've said this myself, is, Emmett Till was killed over a Karen type incident. So this is nothing new, and it's unfortunate that it's still going on. And although we laugh at it, and I'm the curator of Karen videos now, like I get 20 or 30 of them a day. But it's just sad that this is still going on in this country. But I just felt like it's something everybody knew. When you say the word Karen, people, oh, I know what that is. So it was kind of like a level playing field for me to tell my story in a place where we all understand the context, you know what I mean? The point of reference. So that was kind of it, man. I mean, I knew, like when I thought of the title, I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna get in some good trouble. This
was definitely, obviously, as you mentioned before, there's been a Karen forever, in real life. Yeah. We've seen it recently in Get Out, and obviously there was a series earlier called Dem, in which, there was a Karen out there, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last of it. No. You're hitting it on straight up with the title itself, so like it's intentional. So now it's like you got the title itself tells you what you're trying to make. Now there's the story,
Yes.
And so like you're not trying to put it as a subplot. It is the plot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the question is, at any given point, were you trying to humanize why they are?
Not, because obviously they're humans. We're all humans, and the best thing that could happen in scenarios like this is to leave with some understanding of one another, a better understanding of one another. And I didn't want to humanize her. I just wanted to try to let her try to explain her reasoning, even though it doesn't make any sense to any of us. But to her, it makes perfect sense, because her only point of reference she has with minorities was a bad thing that happened in her neighborhood when she was young, and she's held on to that. And ever since then, she's held on to that bias that she doesn't even consider racist, because that's the scary thing, is a lot of these Karens and racist people in general, if you talk to them, they're going to tell you, I'm not racist. Like, it's insane. So yeah, and I just, like I said, obviously I went for all the Karen tropes. I said, let's wrap the tropes into the story, the harassing the kids, the complaining about the trash, I'm gonna call the manager. Of course we had to put that in there somewhere. That was mandatory. Like, that's almost a mandate if you're gonna do a Karen movie, that she's got to ask for the manager somewhere. So,
how did Taryn Manning come along to not only be along as a producer, but the star of the movie?
A good friend of mine, Adrian Miller, who's a music supervisor, and back when I was signed to Loud Record as an artist, he was up my A&R, and we've been friends for many years now. And he, I had the script. I knew the script was hot. I already had BET interested. I was like, I just knew what would push it over is getting somebody attached in that role of Karen. And so I hit him and I said, hey man, do you know any like really dope, like not just actress, like really dope middle-aged actress with a name? I need somebody with a name that can handle this type of material. And Adrian, being the Zen master that he is, he's like, hey, what about Taryn Manning? Like, it was nothing. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? What about Taryn Manning? Like, it's only Taryn Manning, because I'd actually put together a sales deck, and she was the actress I had in it. So he sent her the script. She loved it. She came on as producer because she committed herself at a time when we didn't have all the funding locked in. She just said, "Hey, I love this project. I love what you're saying with this project, and I want to be a part of it because I want to see change as well." Because that's the other thing, is like you can't be a human being with a pulse at this point and not recognize the issues that racism is causing in this country and has been causing this country and continues to. And it's the same problems that we've been having. It's not like it's even new problems. It's the same problem. So, and last year, like I said, I think it was the lockdown too of it that just heightened the emotions in people, where everybody, it just was like there was nothing else to do but to sit here and watch what happened to George Floyd on television. You know what I'm saying? 10 times a day on every social media site. So I think Taryn just, she wanted to, just the same as me, is like, we've done a bunch of different kind of projects, respectfully, but we wanted to do something that said something, yeah. So yeah, I mean, Taryn, it was a dream come true. It's crazy. It's sometimes in life, that's how things happen, where the real story just sounds like that's not how that happened. Like literally, this my friend said, "Hey, Taryn Manning." I said, "Hey, the script." 2 days later, I'm on the phone with Taryn. She's like, "Let's do it." So
you've got Cory, you got Jasmine. They're playing a Black couple. Obviously,
yes.
this is a tight story that you can only work with 3 main actors. You got everybody else
Yeah.
around. You need the Black couple to sell, to make it look seriously. And I've known Cory for some time. I've seen both him and Jasmine's work. What went into casting them?
I just one thing about Malik is I wanted him to have that grit. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted him to be smart, intelligent, but have that grit to him, and only certain actors really have that grit, and also the chops and the capability to go toe to toe with Taryn and be believable. So Cory's, phenomenal actor. I've been a fan for many, many years. He actually had heard about the project and reached out to me on IG initially and would say, "Hey man," it was so dope too. He said, "Hey man, I see what you're doing, brother. That's dope. Good luck on it." He went on some like, "Cast me," or if you none of that. Just, "Hey brother, that's dope. Good luck." But it did put him on my psyche. Not that he wasn't already, but I was like, yes, because it's there's a lot of great actors in Hollywood, but there's not that many that have that grit to them. I know you know what I'm talking about, Wilson. Like there's just a different level of acting and portrayal, especially of a strong Black male lead in this kind of role, where he's kind of like a BLM member and things like that it would be believable. So Cory was a no-brainer, man. It was autopilot for him. Like he does this. So
your movie has played already in Atlanta. It's going to be playing in other markets. Did you initially want it to be in theaters before BET came on board?
We went back and forth. The theater business is so touchy-feely now. This is the thing about me as a filmmaker, is like this is my 9th film. So as a filmmaker, you always want your film on the big screen. But I'm a very realistic person, and I've done films and other people have tried to hype me up to release them theatrically. And I'm like, nah, it's not theatrical quality. Like, because there's a different level of it, of seeing it on a 100-foot screen with the 5.1 mix, and it's expensive. That's not cheap. So yeah, obviously we had ambitions for a theatrical, but ultimately I just want people to see it. You know what I mean? And fortunately we were able to negotiate a good situation between BET and Quiver. And Quiver is the one that's placing it on video on demand on Friday for us. Friday, the 3rd, it comes out through Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play, Redbox, anywhere else you can download or consume content, it'll be up there. So getting the masses to see it, which was most important to me. And with the way that theatrical business is right now, like we had offers of people wanting to go wider theatrical, but it's just, it's such a risk, man. Like it's so touchy-feely. States are going back on lockdown, and it just, it wasn't worth it to me. I just wanted to make sure that, BET has 85 million viewers. They've got their audience on lock, but there's a lot of cable cutters, especially the millennials, like they don't have cable. So I wanted to make sure that audience was able to do it too. So again, I appreciate BET and Quiver for coming together and giving us a window to where the world could see it. Anybody that has any of those platforms will be able to see it, starting on Friday.
And you're correct. Obviously, as we see what's happening through the studios, whatever big marketing they can do is pretty much for the first weekend, because the second weekend, everybody's taking a loss. No one's going back. And if it's on a platform as well, people are just like, oh, I heard this movie was good. Let me check it out. Was it on HBO Max or Netflix or Hulu and stuff like that? So like, I think as a film of color with a primarily Black cast, you know, you want as many people to get to eyes on it because there's so many
Yeah,
options days with what's on the theaters, what's on TV, what's streaming. As you mentioned, you know, not everybody
yeah,
has cable, so you want as the most possible options that people can see it.
exactly. And the most
At the
convenient. Just
Mhm.
that no call to action. You ain't got to get up and leave the house. Just right there, boom, on your remote. And then if you don't have that, September 14th, it's on BET. You know, if you pay cable, you ain't got to pay for it. You see it for free on BET. If you don't, prior to that, options. You know, just and to me, that's what's about is my movies being seen on the broadest platform. The theater business has been on struggling. Like I don't know what the new normal for theater business is going to be, but I just felt for this film that we had already, to me, overachieved. You know what I'm saying? Like to have this kind of attention on a small independent film like this is a dream come true for me as a filmmaker because this is all you ever hope is that people see your film and not and have an awareness of your film. So yeah, I'm cool with it. Like, you know, obviously all filmmakers, we want to go 3,000 screens. I want to, you know what I'm saying? We're going to do 20 million opening weekend, but sometimes you just got to be more realistic and give what the game is dictating, you know, give what the game is given to you. And right now it just was like, we've already created all this hype and hysteria with no marketing dollars, mind you. So why start spending money to speculate that this may be the film they finally come out for? I just, you know, it didn't make sense to us.
And that's the key word of awareness and visibility. And
Yeah.
you know, got a lot of awareness, sight unseen, you know, because of the subject matter and the title. You know, in the course of making this movie and seeing how much buzz you got out of it, what have you learned in the process, both during the making of the movie, seeing the awareness of what you're getting out of it, that's going to help you along for your next project?
I definitely, I don't read all into the trolling. I try to read, you know, some of it because you know, you just need to be in touch and you can't tell the audience they're wrong. And not saying that the entire audience that hates the film because for one, people hadn't seen the film. They were going nuts over the trailer without even seeing the film. But one of my sayings that I always say is, you know, people don't read stories, they just read headlines. So, you know, it just, I think moving forward, I mean, I definitely want to have social commentary in all my films, but I think, you know, kind of where my heart is going now is just like, you know, we're ready to laugh. You know, we're ready to be entertained. Like Karen is just too real. It's literally like walking off a street corner and walking into a theater, and it's the same thing you just seen happening outside. Like it's like, you know, so that and a phrase that I've seen a lot of was, and you'll probably know this better than me, Wilson. I think they were saying not black struggle, but black pain or something like that. We're tired of black pain movies, and you know, and we are, and I am, and Karen's definitely not that, and I think that got misconstrued as well. But I mean, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about definitely marketing, you know, because this is like a 1 in a million chance that a film gets this kind of attention, you know, just off a trailer that got leaked to TMZ. So but you know, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot moving forward. I always learn a lot from every film. Um, I have no regrets, and that's why I stopped doing a lot of press at first because they would interview me and then they would put Coke Daniels defends his. I'm not defending anything. Like I'm very proud of this film. I have no need to defend it. You know, it's a great piece of work. Art is subjective. Some people are gonna love it. Some people are gonna hate it. But I mean, honestly, the main thing, just to cut to the chase, what I brought home from it was doing stuff that comes from the heart and making your film a crusade. Because I was able to get Ben Crump, I was able to get Taryn Manning, I was able to get CeeLo Green to give us a record just based on people wanting to get behind what the film stood for. So that's why I think, you know, no matter what I do, even if it's a comedy, it's going to have some social commentary to it because I think that's just the world that we live in now. Like I can't sit down and create art that doesn't say anything about the Black experience or the culture or our plights or, you know, just, you know, the culture, man. It's for the culture. Do things that come from the heart, you know, and it's amazing the things that'll fall in place. This is my biggest budget film. This is the biggest platform I received for one of my films. And it came from the heart. It was genuine and, you know, it was for the culture.
Well, that's all that needs to be said. You know, I appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, you know, as it comes out and, you know, as you're doing press, which is great because that's all you want is visibility and awareness. Whether people like it or not, time will tell. You say
Yeah.
time will tell. You never know how people may see things, over time and when they see it. Like we grew up watching TV without going to the theaters because some of us didn't have the money. And no matter what, and we never cared what those reviews were because we just saw it as it is. And, you develop the opinion after.
Hitchcock is one of my favorite filmmakers. They hated all his films, and then the critics did rather. And even I went back in history and I looked at Do the Right Thing on how bad the critics tore Spike Lee up behind Do the Right Thing. And a lot of the same stuff that was getting leveled at me. This is reverse racism, it's sloppy, it's not well executed. It's the same thing because people fear what they don't understand. And usually a film like Karen, gets spoon-fed to you over a year of studio marketing and preparing you. And hey guys, this is Coke Daniels. He's not some weird lunatic nut. He's this guy. Like, we didn't have anything. We just threw it out there. And I think, to me, that is, I think if this film trends the way it's looking it's going to trend, it's definitely going to be a case study for marketing and promoting content. Because again, we got the kind of publicity that studios spend tens of millions of dollars on. I wouldn't advise anybody to do the same thing though. It's one of those weird genie in the bottle type situations, but so yeah, man, it's been a great experience. I'm proud of it, man. And I'm just happy to be able to talk to brothers like you. I know me and you talked over Instagram and stuff like that, but yeah, man. And I'm excited, man. One good thing that's come as of late that and I'm gonna knock on wood. I'm sitting at my desk, so I'm gonna knock on wood, is this film has now been sent out to a lot of people. And I haven't seen anybody lambasting it yet online because I believe a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised by the film. I think people read headlines and not the story. I think a lot of people got things misconstrued just by the backlash from the trailer and didn't understand that I'm a seasoned filmmaker. This is not some Hollywood, creation at a high level. It's an independent Black filmmaker that decided to tell this story, and threw it all on the line. So,
well, Coke, I wish you the best of luck with everything. Obviously, you got it going on. I'm always here to support filmmakers, when they have projects, because it's just a matter, like I said, it's a matter of getting the visibility. Let the people decide down the road what they think of it. The project is done. All you now want to do is get it out, and then you got your next project. So that's all you can do. I appreciate the time. Keep doing your thing. Obviously, we'll talk later on as you continue evolve.
Absolutely. All right, man. Thanks for all the love you always show for my films too, man. I appreciate it.
Always coming through. Take care.
Okay. All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.